What up? Mist here, and welcome to Mist Movie Reviews. I know, crazy, right? You thought I was gonna say anime reviews, but instead I said movie reviews. Today we're going to be taking a look at a movie that I saw recently, Suicide Squad, which was directed by David Ayer and produced by Zack Snyder. As you can see also in the video link, whether you're looking up or whether you're looking down or wherever you're looking, that this is a rant video. Basically, because I want to go ahead and get my opinion out about this movie, and I might end up doing rants for my movie reviews and might just keep my intricate details for my anime reviews, you know, where I go through my process of the characters, the plot, the pacing and all that. I think I'm going to keep that for my anime reviews, but for my movie reviews, I'm just going to go ahead and basically just tell you how I feel about the movie. And of course, because this is a rant review, you can expect some spoilers here, but keep in mind though that I'm going to try and limit the spoilers as much as possible, but still expect it because it's a rant video. The same philosophy I explained concerning my anime reviews in my anime review tutorial video is still going to go toward my movie reviews also, except of course you're not going to have the review, they're going to be called the rant. So you definitely absolutely don't want to be spoiled about anything, then click on the review videos. But if you don't care about being spoiled, even though I'm gonna try and limit it in my movie reviews, especially the movie just came out, then you can take a look at my rant videos like the one I'm about to produce right here. Okay, now it's time to get into nitty-gritty of my opinion of Suicide Squad. I'm just messing with you. I thought Suicide Squad was a very good, like, superhero movie. I don't think it was the best. I don't think it was, and I don't think it was terrible, like people have been saying about it. Like, I remember Internet Movie Database gave it a 6.9, and I was like, okay, above, at least it got above a 5, above average, even though I personally would have given it more of a 7.5 or even closer to an 8. But Rotten Tomatoes giving it 26% and the Metacritic giving it 40%. I'm like, what's the deal with that? I'm like, the movie was not nearly that terrible. Okay, I can already perceive in the comments what's probably going to happen is you're going to end up having, and people I meet in real life too, you're going to end up having some people that are like, you're nothing but a DC fanboy. You think this movie is only good and it was clearly terrible because you love DC and everything they produce. And shame on you for being a Marvel hater. Well, I want to give you some of my opinions before I get into the nit and gritty of what I think about the Suicide Squad movie and why I think it was like above average, but still not as bad as everyone's saying that it is. I believe that Captain America: Civil War is still currently the best superhero made so far. It's the best one, the most consistent, and it gets the job done of what you should expect in the superhero movie consistently across the board. Not Deadpool. I think Deadpool is a very hilarious movie, but I do think Deadpool falls a little short in some areas, and a lot of people are blinded by the comedy and how original it has been to the formula, considering that it's basically like kind of a meta movie where it makes fun about the movie itself. It constantly breaks the fourth wall, so you're really not going to be able to compete with that comedy wise. And I repeat, there is no superhero movie that's going to be able to compete with Deadpool comedy-wise just because it does that. But it's not the best superhero movie. I think the second best superhero movie to me is Man of Steel. Yeah, cut Marvel to DC, right? I really like the Man of Steel movie. To me, what I expected from a Superman movie, unlike Superman Returns, Man of Steel freaking delivered. Shows Superman's story and all that. And I thought Batman vs. Superman fell short, just completely. Maybe they released the director's cut, it'll be better, but I really thought that movie fell short. And Avengers Age of Ultron was a steaming piece of shit. And those are my opinions, and you can just deal with it. Enough defensiveness on the Suicide Squad. One of the biggest things I liked about Suicide Squad is that it takes a concept where, in this concept we've definitely seen before, where you take together a bunch of misfits, you bring them all together, and of course they don't get along, they don't get along with anybody, and somehow they end up coming together in order to get rid of some super threat going on. The difference with Suicide Squad is this movie, as a lot of, well, this movie we all knew was going to do this to begin with, as something we expected from the movie, is it brings together a bunch of super villains in order to combat in order to combat a threat. And that's something to me that I was really hoping for, I was really looking forward to seeing, of course, and that's something that the movie delivered upon, is that you just don't have a bunch of people, like usually in your misfit movies, you have a bunch of people, and this person has this idiosyncrasy, this guy has this idiosyncrasy, and this person is crazy in this way. But in this movie, it's not, a lot of these characters have their issues and their problems, but it's not a thing about them all being just a bunch of eccentric people coming together. These people are all like supervillains. For example, we have, of course, we have Enchantress, who she is the most broken member of the team, because she's like basically a witch. She can teleport, she can put people mentally inside their own fantasies, and she can manifest like swords to fight with and everything. And so, and that's what she does. And she also has some other like powers too. I mean, she was able to bring her brother, she can also possess people, like how she possessed that black guy in order to being her brother. So those are the Enchantress's powers. She's pretty broke as a supervillain. And then of course Killer Croc is strong, and he shows you that he's strong by being able to throw people and toss them however he wants to do it. He's not so strong where he's gonna pick up a car and fling it at you, but he is strong enough where he's definitely considerably more powerful than the average man. And of course there's also Harley Quinn, and I thought they really represented her character extremely well. Margot Robbie did an excellent job with Harley Quinn's character, on how she was crazy. She had that crazy sexy thing going on, but she also, with that craziness came a sense of fearlessness, where other people would sit back and be like, no baby, we shouldn't do this. Harley Quinn was just like, okay, let's just do it, because she just doesn't care. She's just batshit crazy. And Margot really brought that to Harley Quinn's character, and I really appreciate that. That's Harley Quinn's thing. And I have to say, Deadshot, now I did not read the comics. I don't know about the Suicide Squad, other than I know that they are basically a gallery. Of course, they're a gallery of DC villains that are brought together by force by Amanda Waller in order to combat like whatever threat she perceives, or basically probably do whatever she wants, as we saw pretty much in the movie. But Deadshot's character, Will Smith's character, really surprised me, because I was thinking, wow, it's a guy who just shoots guns and he can use any gun. And I was thinking to myself, how is that like a superpower or anything? How is that like special? But he never misses. That's the thing. Deadshot never misses unless he wants to, but that's the guy's thing. I remember reading somewhere that Batman's the only person that made him miss, of course, but throughout the movie, the man never misses. He can literally go through armies and armies of people, and he can one shot all of them coming at him, because he never freaking misses, especially those arm things going on too. It's like his guns are like a part of him with that. And that's something that really surprised me about his character, is I didn't think he would be super villain-esque, but he actually is. Oh yeah, then of course we have Diablo. How could I forget about that guy? That guy was just freaking ridiculous. But of course they had to hold him back. They had to hold his character back because he was so overpowered compared to the other team members, except for Enchantress, of course. And a little spoiler alert, I keep saying Enchantress was a part of the team, and well, you know this is a rant video, so I don't know why I gave you the spoiler alert. But of course, Enchantress basically turns out to be the main villain of the movie. So she was originally part of the team, but it's like she immediately like leaves the team because he can't like be controlled, and that's something we're going to get to. But yeah, Diablo was a member throughout the team, but his whole thing was he had committed a terrible atrocity in the past, so he was holding himself back with using his powers because he was like he wasn't a killer anymore. But when he really did use his powers, he was like he just burnt through freaking everybody. I really did like that about his character, how he really, the way he acted and everything, he definitely fit that trope of, and it's a trope and it is a trope, kind of a stereotype, but because you don't see like a lot of Mexican like stars in movies like this, I think it was good that he was in the movie. And even though he was from prison, he had out of tattoos and everything, all the tattoos and everything, basically a Mexican prison inmate. But when he came out, because of the tragedies he had committed in the past, the man still had a pacifism about him. So he was stereotypical, but then I didn't see him as stereotypical because he was that Mexican inmate with all the tattoos that was really dangerous. But the thing about him is his pacifism really limited that about his character, where he was like he was done, he didn't want to fight, and that gave his character more depth than just being like the Mexican prison inmate out of prison that just wants to just kill and stab and do all that messed up shit. He didn't fit. He's like he fit the trope but didn't, and that's what I really liked about what Jay Hernandez brought to Diablo's character. Alright, now of course this whole thing has been about how you have this rogue of supervillains, and that's what separates them from your average crew of delinquents coming together to do something. That these are supervillains and these are their powers and their abilities, and that's what makes them stand out. But of course, with every positive, there can also be a negative way to do this too. And that's the point of this movie is, of course, you're supposed to have a bunch of crazy people coming together, a bunch of delinquents, but superpowered delinquents. And of course, you're going to have one person that doesn't come close to the rest. And that person, one villain, two words: Captain Boomerang. Now, I'm not bashing the way the actor portrayed the character. I thought Jai Courtney portrayed Captain Boomerang very well. Captain Boomerang basically was your scrappy Australian who used boomerangs. But when you have a group of people, you had Enchantress with her powers, you had Diablo with his fire, you have Harley Quinn for crazy. Deadshot never misses, but Deadshot was kind of rough around the edges too. He was like a contract killer though, but Deadshot was just ass. He wasn't like James Bond is. He was kind of like he's going to throw down with you too, just like Captain Boomerang was. And then of course you got Killer Croc, who was pretty much one-dimensional, just your muscle character. But Captain Boomerang really didn't bring anything to the table. He was the tough Australian guy who just threw boomerangs. And there was one scene where he uses boomerang for surveillance, and I was like, they gotta make him do something right other than just, I mean, when they said the man's name was Captain Boomerang, I thought he was really going to be Captain. When I thought Captain Boomerang, I thought Captain America without the superpowers. That's what I thought when I thought of Captain Boomerang. And without like the goody two-shoe thing. Rough Australian Captain America without superpowers. Was what I thought of Captain Boomerang. I thought he was going to be throwing his boomerang in crazy angles and everything and messing people up. I thought that was going to be his thing, where he was going to be doing basically bank shots with his boomerangs, and we didn't see that. All the man was doing was just cutting people up close range with his freaking boomerang. And she wasn't. I can't remember her character's name. I know that the actress's name was Karen Fukuhara, and she had the chick that had the swords, the samurai chick, and she had her husband's soul trapped in a sword, and that was freaking hilarious. That was real funny. And she only spoke Japanese in the movie, and then she was like talking to the sword. They only did that once, but it's still pretty darn funny. Tragic, but funny. And she was a person kicking butts with the sword. She was a real close combat expertise person. So Captain Boomerang just being tough and just being scrappy and just being like, okay, we need to get the hell out of here. I just want to leave as much as possible. Now I think about it, that could have been the thing Captain Boomerang brought to the movie. He was the only guy who was just Harley Quinn wasn't thinking enough. She was too crazy. She was just like, okay, whatever. Deadshot was coming at it from a professional standpoint. And he was kind of the person that kept the crew grounded, because he was like, we need to do this. We can't let this person die. This person dies, we're all dead, and this is what we need to do, basically. And even the team members was coming to him because he still had that sense of, even though he was still scrappy too, he still had that sense of professionalism and that thoughtfulness when it came to the situation. But Captain Boomerang was a guy that was, and of course Killer Croc wasn't thinking much at all, and Diablo was just like, I don't want to be here, but I'm just like here, basically. I'm here. But Captain Boomerang was like, I just want to get the hell up out of here. He had the most like roughest villain attitude to us. I guess that's what he kind of brought to the party. But combat wise, he didn't provide any combat strength to the team, just personality strength to the team. So I really thought if any character could have went, and the worst character for the team was kind of Captain Boomerang. He brought something, but he didn't bring much. Okay, I guess I've ranted enough about the characters. Some other mentions that I definitely should mention here is, of course, the Batfleck. Well, I guess he's graduated from being a Batfleck now because he was the best thing about Batman versus Superman, honestly. But Batman in the movie, played by Ben Affleck, of course, he only did a cameo, but I like this. I enjoyed seeing him going against Harley Quinn and the Joker a little bit and their craziness and whatnot, and also with him going and picking up Deadshot. That of course was something, and he would just made a cameo, but he did okay. And of course, the Joker, played by Jared Leto, was also a good take on the Joker. And I liked how this Joker, I have to say, was to me he was the most menacing Joker in the. Honestly, I mean, I'm sorry, Heath Ledger's Joker is still better, and Jack Nicholson's Joker was also very intimidating too. But Heath Ledger's Joker, you can tell he's really like, he's like a mob. He was like a mob boss, but he was also like very kooky and crazy. It's like his character, to me, was the most unpredictable of all the Jokers I've seen so far. He was very unpredictable, where his character, he seemed like he had like a mob boss craziness like charm about his character. And that was real good. And see, I'm having trouble trying to find this, because I did like his portrayal of the Joker, but I'm trying to separate it from the other portrayals of the Joker. The one played by Heath Ledger and the one played by Jack Nicholson are of course the the most memorable portrayals. Heath Ledger's was still, to me, like the best still, but it felt like Heath Ledger's was the best, but it felt like Heath Ledger's was kind of reserved. This is the thing, here it is. Heath Ledger's Joker was kind of reserved because it's like he was dealing with people, he was dealing with Batman and outwitting the mafia and everything, but he was still holding something back. And you could tell that he was kind of holding something back. It's like he was a Joker, but he was the Joker, but it's like there was a part of him hidden underneath, which was the biggest appeal of Heath Ledger's Joker, was the complexity of that Joker. And then you got Jack Nicholson's Joker, which was just crazy mastermind and master strategist, what he was trying to do against Batman, and he was a very creepy Joker. But honestly, I really wouldn't have trusted either one of those Jokers for $1 billion. I wouldn't have trusted Heath Ledger's, or if both of those Jokers came to be like, hey buddy, you want to help me with something, I'd be like, hell no, there's no way I would. But Heath Ledger's Joker seems like he's just a crazy guy and he seemed like he was a crazy boss he seemed like an eccentric, but he was much more than that. And that's the thing I like about Jared Leto's portrayal of the Joker in the movie. He was this boss guy. He seemed like a mob boss that was eccentric. That seemed like his thing, but it was a cover. He basically was just crazy. Him and Harley Quinn were the perfect thing. This Joker, there was really nothing underneath. He just was who he was. This Joker was unrestrained and unreserved. He seemed like the mob boss, and you want to think he was just the eccentric mob boss, but the guy wasn't. He just was. He was a crazy son of a bitch who would, if he thought it was a good idea to kill you, if you offended him, he would just kill you. He would play with you because he just wanted to do it, and then he'd kill you. But if he liked you at the time, then he liked you at the time. But that's the thing that made Jared Leto's Joker so unpredictable, and that unpredictability made him so like menacing. And they kind of softened up with his relationship with Harley Quinn, but can you imagine? And I really did enjoy going back a little bit. I'm still talking about the character. I said I was going to be done with the characters. I'm still kind of doing it, but I promise, after Jared Leto and Harley Quinn, I'm going on something else. I promise. I mean, we got the Flash cameo, which was a bit too brief to me, but it happened. I thought the Boomerang should have did a little bit more with the Flash. The Flash cameo to me was disappointing, okay? Batman cameo with the people he went against was awesome. Flash cameo, didn't like it. It was disappointing. So, sorry about that, Flash fanboys and girls. Didn't like it. Part of the Joker thing was, I really did like Jared Leto's portrayal of the Joker. It's a portrayal of the Joker we haven't quite seen to this level yet, where it's just that unpredictability and completely unhinged, and he was grounded, but to me, a little bit by Harley Quinn, because Harley Quinn made him seem softer. Like there was a scene where he let her fall into the thing of chemicals, and then he was like thinking he was just gonna leave her. Then he was like, oh, whatever, let me just go and save her, and he did it. It was kind of like but it felt like he could have left her just as well as he could have not left her, and that's something real good about this Joker. So I look forward to seeing this Joker more, and like I hope they do an individual Batman movie with this Joker, or if they do another Batman versus Superman movie, I really hope they make the Joker the main center villain, this Joker, because I really want to see more of what this man can do. Last mention on characters, I promise. Will Smith's daughter in the movie. Don't know who played her. I'm sorry, girl. I know you meant well. and you were trying to really force through, and you were just a child actress, and you were just trying to go for the real cutesy like girl daughter role for Will Smith's character. But girl, you were just a terrible actress in the movie. I'm sorry. Maybe you'll do better as you get older and you get more experience acting, but you really didn't sell that role, and it wouldn't have been so bad if you weren't beside such a phenomenal actor as Will Smith. Because I mean, I always was kind of a Will Smith fan. His personal life aside and his beliefs aside, I do like Will Smith, and that he's a prominent actor, and he always has been, and represents the African American community as a very strong black male actor. I always did admire that about the man, that alone right there. Just like Michael Jordan, what he's done and everything. How he showed that it can be done. Not that he's done anything else, but like the man shows that it can be done. You gotta admire that. And so, like, in that realm of things, I really do admire like Will Smith for that. And she wouldn't have looked so bad though if she wasn't you. It's like you had horrible acting and you had a really good acting side by side. Maybe she should have been someone else's daughter in the movie or something. I don't know. But I hope you do better, and I hope you learn from this experience, and that you're happy that you were part of this project. But in this movie, you kind of fell short. I had to give an honorable bad acting award to somebody. I'm sorry, but there you go. Alright, enough about the characters. It's time to get to the plot I'm not going to go through the plot of the story. You know what the plot is. You know that if you saw the movie, and of course, spoiler alert, you know the big twist in the plot turns out to be that where the plot, you got a bunch of supervillains are forced to do something. Now, of course, they're sent on their mission, and the mission turns out to be, I'm not going to say what happens with that. I'm not going to say, but it turns out to be not what they expect it to be. And the main villain, of course, is really Enchantress and her resurrected brother. They're the villains. That's a spoiler, that right there. But the plot, a lot of people say things were uneven with the plot and everything, and how it does this and then it does that. I didn't see that. People said, and I read reviews about this movie, and I was looking to that too, to see if I would feel that inside myself as I experienced this movie. And as I was watching the movie, I saw that the first half of the movie, you had the characters and everything they went through. You had their background, and like some of their background, like Killer Croc. Of course, he ain't have much of a background, and then Captain Boomerang, they did show a bit of him. But yeah, you basically go through. Yeah, now I think about it, the only character they really didn't go in the background of was, they talked about Killer Croc's background, but you didn't see like any backstory footage on him like you saw with everybody else, which was kind of, I mean, I guess they could have did that. Maybe it would be in the cut. It would have been kind of interesting. They gave that even kill to everybody. You know, it's kind of interesting. I wonder why they didn't. I guess they didn't because he was a one-note character. So yeah, the plot of the movie was kind of consistent to me throughout. At the beginning, you had how they were all captured montage, but then after that, you have your comedy and you have your action as the comedy's going, as they're going on their mission, and you have them assessing the situation. The villains force at bomb point to do this mission, trying to figure out, well, the ones with intellect trying to figure out what the hell's going on, while so many others are like, let's try and get a way out of this, man. Why are we doing this? We villains, we need to get the hell out of here. And the movie, it seemed like it was plotly Now, of course, there are like some things I'm kind of like, but the movie was pretty much consistent though with the comedy and the action. There wasn't any serious breakpoints in the movie where there wasn't anything going on. And I'm sorry, but that happens a lot in Marvel movies where you just have the characters sitting there and they're just talking about something. Even in like Man of Steel, you had like scenes where Superman was just sitting there and he was just angsting and he was thinking about what he could do next. But it was an origin story, of course, but it still existed though naturally, where you had him like coming to terms with him being Superman and everything. And during those scenes there isn't that much action and there's a lot of talking, there's a lot of backstory and so forth. But Superhero Squad, the action and the copy and everything goes throughout, and that's basically what happens. The movie seemed consistent to me, where the action and the comedy was going throughout the movie, where you never had any real slow moments in the movie. So the thing about people saying the movie was uneven and at the beginning it was so good, and I was looking for this too, mind you. I was looking to be disappointed by this. They were saying the movie started off so good with when it was saying, and then it fall flat in the middle and the end when the villain when the villainess and villain become revealed as the movie goes on. And I didn't see that. The movie seemed like it consistently gets everything done throughout. Of course there's craziness at the beginning because the Joker is mostly in Harley Quinn's flashbacks at the beginning of the movie, but the movie just keeps on going. It's a consistent action, comedy, superhero movie. I will say though, the biggest force driving the movie though was Will Smith, which is a good and a bad thing when you have one actor who's and Margot Robbie, she didn't have to do any one-liners. Her craziness was just a driving force too. So I guess those two characters are really the characters that really like drove the plot going, was Will Smith and his one-liners. But at least there wasn't a one-liner every like 5 seconds. At least you didn't have every character basically doing a one-liner. You didn't have action scenes where there was nothing but one-liners going along. You will not find that in this movie. When the characters do their one-liners, when shit hits the fan, the shit hits the fan, and the characters aren't doing a bunch of crazy one-liners like you usually would see in a Will Smith movie. I have to say, you didn't see this in the plot, in the story of this movie. It just, when you had your action, you had your action. When you had your downtime, you had your downtime, and there wasn't that much downtime. And I really did like that about Suicide Squad's plot. What the critics were saying and what people are saying, I just didn't see it. Okay, I'm about to get to the end of this here. I'm about to kind of wrap this up, where I'm about to sum up, like, in this final session, basically the choreography, the final fight scene, and the conclusion of this movie. Basically how not too specific on how it all went down, but basically on how I perceived it. Which a lot of it was like it was but kind of You can call me loving DC all you want here, but the fights in Batman vs Superman were, I'm sorry, they were pretty bad. Other than the fight between Batman and Superman, which happened in the end of the movie, it was bad. But the fights in Suicide Squad, I'm sorry, they completely crap on like a lot of the fights, and not, of course, Captain America Civil War is still the best, but they crap on a lot of fights in a lot of Marvel movies. The fights are well choreographed, and they're pretty awesome seeing all the characters kick butt and when they go down. And I really like that. But there's a problem that comes with that too. And I don't know who was responsible for this. Maybe it was director Mr. David Ayer, or maybe it was producer Zack Snyder, for how he usually likes shooting action scenes in his freaking movies. But in this movie, you had awesome fight choreography. I really liked the way they did the fights. But the way they showed the fights was terrible. It was that shaky cam. That damn shaky cam. You have these awesome fights. You have these characters doing all these cool acrobatic moves and shooting people and everything and kicking. And you have Enchantress teleporting and fighting all the Suicide Squad members in the movie. It was incredible. How come you can't keep the camera freaking still so we can see what's happening in the darn fight scenes? I don't understand that. That, to me, you had these incredible fight scenes and they looked awesome. They looked like they could have been awesome. They were ruined by this freaking shaky cam. You basically have Ultron Final Fight syndrome going on, where you have all this cool stuff that supposedly happened, but you don't really see much of it because of the shaky cam. I don't know whether they were trying to cover the fact that they had a lot of stunt doubles in the movie, or whether they were using like CGI mixed with something. I don't think they were, but I think maybe it's more of a stunt double thing. I don't know, but DC, you gotta get rid of shaky cam. This is me telling you this, and you have to. There are far more awesome fights in movies. You can have an incredible fight. You can choreograph the hell out of it, and it is great. But you can completely ruin it with the wrong cinematography. A fight is supposed to be a fight because you're supposed to see people kicking ass. That's the reason why you're supposed to have a fight. If you don't see people like fighting and you don't see the awesome moves they're doing, then you don't have a freaking fight scene. You just have people fighting and a bunch of crazy camera angles going around, and it makes no sense. That the movie would have been even if people think Suicide Squad wasn't the best superhero movie it could have been, it could have at least and I really like the movie, but I'm talking about the opinions of the people of the haters of the movie. They have to be haters, so the movie isn't that bad. It's not great, but it ain't that bad, and it's not a B movie either. It's better than a B movie. But it could have been an incredible action movie at the least to these naysayers if you had kept the camera still. Please don't do that again. If you're going to have a fight scene, I want to see, unless if you have a bunch of, even if you have heavy CGI, I want to see what's going on. Even if you shaky cam a fight scene, I'm telling you, DC or David Ayers, Zack Snyder, whoever's responsible, people can tell when stuff is CGI. They can tell it. Even if you kind of cut it in a weird way, you can minimize it. But the fight scenes in the fight scenes in the second Matrix are going to be the fight scenes in the second Matrix. No matter how they're cut, people are going to be able to tell it. So, if anything, make the CGI moments quick, but please don't do that shaky cam again. Please don't. Okay, now we're getting to the final fight scene. We're trying to get to the end of this here. Now, I really love my final fights in a movie. I will pay money to see a movie I think is awesome. But whether I buy it or not, and whether I recommend other people to see it or not, is going to depend on whether you guys can get the final fight scene right. If you're doing an action movie where in the end you got bad guy versus good guy, you gotta have a final fight scene. You can't scrap on it, and that's the biggest thing I'm getting pissed about with Marvel movies, with the Avengers movies in particular, not Marvel movies, the Avengers movies. They have had terrible final fight scenes, except for Captain America. Well, that wasn't an Avengers movie. The Avengers movies have had horrible final boss fight scenes, and that is just unforgivable. I think I will never buy Age of Ultron, never, because that fight scene was just disappointing. Big guy made of metal, and everyone just fries in one attack. No, just no. But the final fight scene to me was pretty darn good. They went against the big brother in suit of armor. They didn't just overpower him. They fought him. They had a strategy to beat him. And even Diablo, who you thought was the magic button character when things get real bad, you can just talk with him, and I'm gonna quote X-Men here, release your power. One of those. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. I hate those I hate those magic button characters where they're all. Diablo was good, but he was alright, but the Magic Button character, you know what I'm talking about, where they're all reserved and they're all like, I'm scared of doing this, I'm scared of doing that, and then they get some motivation, they just wipe out everybody, and one of the things they usually save them for, and this is why I gotta give the way they did Diablo heads up, because Diablo was kind of a Magic Button character, but at the same time though, in the final boss fight, he wasn't a Magic Button character, and Magic Button characters are usually served for that final piece of action, where the character might do a little bit of something, but they're still reserved, but when that final moment happens, they're pushed and they just ended. Their Magic Button characters basically have become the new Deus Ex Machina of action movies in cinema, and I freaking hate them. And in the final fight scene, Diablo seemed like he was like a Magic Button character, but he still couldn't beat the final boss person alone. He even, well, I'm not going to spoil that, but he couldn't beat the final boss person alone. And they still had to go on their strategy to beat him, and it kept Grim like a movie could, with how he was fighting. He was doing good, but he still couldn't. He was a strong fire, but his fire eventually dimmed, and I kind of like that, where they didn't go with the Magic Button ending that they could have while fighting the suit of armor. Now, Enchantress, them fighting her was an awesome fight scene. Of course, ruined by shaky cam, but you can tell the choreography was pretty darn good, with how she was basically handling all the Suicide Squad members, how they were protecting each other from her final attacks. That was freaking awesome. And the way they finished her, and I am going to spoil this, the way they finished her was kind of meh a little bit, because she was pretty much beating the crap out of them, and Harley Quinn comes up, and I guess you could be devil's advocate here and play off she was appealing to Enchantress's vanity, because she loves to get control of other people. That's her thing. She loves to control others and get them under her control. She loves to have people under her foot obeying her like she's a queen. But still, I mean, the katana was at her foot, and Enchantress was so blinded by her vanity she couldn't see that freaking katana at her feet. I think they could have did that a little bit better, because the katana was right at her feet, and Harley Quinn is kind of freaking crazy. I mean, could barely hide the fact that what she was playing. Even I could see that she was up to something, and Enchantress was completely blinded to this. I guess her character isn't supposed to be known for intellect. I don't know, but I felt like there could be a good explanation, which I kind of explained as to why that scene kind of worked, but I thought it was kind of weak sauce a little bit. I thought it really was with that. So awesome fight, but the way they beat the big suited brother was good teamwork, and everything fighting against that was good, fighting against Enchantress's brother. But them beating Enchantress herself, the fight was good. Shaky can't ruin it, but I felt it was kind of a cop-out. And of course, I thought the ending to this movie was very appropriate. Everyone thought that Amanda Waller was dead, and they thought they were all going to be free and everything, and they were all going to be able to just walk out, and that would have been pretty awesome, considering they all just pretty much just came together and saved all the world's technology. That would have been kind of nice, but it's Suicide Squad. These are villains, and these are a group of anti-heroes, and we all know things don't end up well for the anti-heroes. They classically don't get the girl, they classically don't get what they want, and they just go on brooding, which is why they're anti-heroes. But these guys are actually villains, though, brought together by force. And that's what ends up happening here, is that at the end, Amanda Waller's still alive. He comes back with the phone, and they're like, we just saved the world. And she's like, okay, 10 years off your sentence. Exactly what I promised before. And some of these guys, for some of the stuff what's his name? Unless Deadshot has a good lawyer, that guy's got life. He's pretty much killed all these people. So 10 years off his sentence, you're like, what? Huh? Come Croc freaking eats people. He pulled the guard down there. He was chewing on him. 10 years off your sentence. Yeah, whatever. Captain the Boomerang's a thief. Maybe he'll get out eventually. Maybe he will. Harley Quinn is a suicidal murderer. She's killed lots of freaking people. She could get off on being insane, I guess. Maybe that could limit her sentence, and them giving her medicine or something, making her manageable. You give her maybe give her a lobotomy. No, don't do that. Please don't. No, I almost said something that I regretted. No, don't, no. But give her some medicine or something. Maybe she gets out, she'll be okay. I was about to say that because of the extreme of how crazy Harley Quinn is. Like, will medicine really help her? Would it really do the trick? Maybe it would, maybe it wouldn't. But yeah. But that ending was very appropriate. How basically, okay, you guys saved all the world's technology. Back to prison you go in case we need you again. But at least excuse me. But at least they got the perks at the end of it. Killer Croc got his BET. Deadshot was able to get letters of his daughter again. He's a spoiler, of course. Deadshot was able to get letters of his daughter again in prison. And of course he was able to see her. And that was a little cute scene where he was able to see her. And I'm glad they didn't just drag him out with the handcuffs like the CIA people wanted to do. And Captain Boomerang, of course, he's still basically a big time ass where he was just like, love you. He's so crazy. That was good. As I said, power-wise, he brought enough to the team, but personality-wise, I can appreciate what he brought to it. But then again, maybe they could have replaced him with another character in the gallery of superheroes that had a better move set that still had a personality similar to his. You can't tell me they didn't have someone like that would have gave more to the team. But his guard was a female though. And she was kind of smiling. Makes you think, huh? But in any case, and of course the chick who's I'm not gonna say, well, I already did, but the chick who was possessed by Enchantress, she ends up being okay, and she ends up, I'm assuming, being with the guy who played, well, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right. I believe it was Joel Kinnaman. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but he was the guy who was, I can't remember his character's name either, I'm sorry, but he was the guy who was put in charge of the Suicide Squad under Amanda Waller, under Viola Davis's character. And he did okay. I'm about to get that in a second. I'm gonna give a quick honorable mention to them too. And that was something with that, is that they end up probably going off to the sunset, and they had a good ending. So it's like they're anti-heroes, and they all kind of still got shafted in the end by, yeah, only 10 years off your sentence, including you lifers, only 10 years off your sentence, ha 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 ha. But still a bittersweet ending for them. And of course, the Joker saving Harley Quinn at the end was priceless and too perfect. With Amanda Waller having, and I guess that shows how powerful this Joker character is that he could do that. I mean, they're basically at a government facility, and he basically just comes and rescues her at the end. That shows how potent this Joker is. Can't wait to see him as a central villain in either a Justice League movie, which will be even more awesome. Him and Lex working together. I liked him as a villain better than Lex was in the Batman vs Superman movie. I kind of felt they were kind of the same character, but the Joker was better at it. Jared Leto was better at it. So congrats, man, congrats. You'll win. Oh yeah, and then in conclusion of basically this thing is there's the after. Well, no, I want to say this, but then there's a big thing I have to say after this, which I believe might have been the theme of the movie, or what theme I could drag from the movie anyway. What I'm about to say now is that the ending thing to the after credit scene in the movie was pretty interesting. That Amanda Waller, her character was the person that gave Bruce Wayne his dossiers to get his Justice League started. So it's kind of like they're working in tandem. And it makes me curious. That scene showed you how Bruce Wayne got his dossier, but it also shows that Bruce Wayne, Batman, was basically like, I'm going to have to shut you guys down. And she was like, you can try Rich Boy. Or not Rich Boy, but she basically told him that she knew that he was Batman, about him going out and beating up people at night. And it showed that could there be, and there probably is going to be, there has to be a Suicide Squad against Justice League movie, or are they going to have to come together to beat a villain? I'm more hoping in the future we're going to end up having more powerful members. I don't know how, I'm guessing, I don't know what happens in the comics, okay? I don't know, I'm ignorant about that, so don't bash me too hard on it, okay? But I would love to see more powerful members of the Suicide Squad go against the Justice League. That would be incredible. I would love to see a movie like that, where it's basically Armando Waller versus Bruce Wayne. It would be, I think that hopefully will be one of the next stages. I hope it's not. I hope Justice League, these DC movies keep on doing well. I really hope that's not going to be the plot of the next Justice League. Well, it's probably not going to be the plot of the next Justice League movie, but maybe the one after that. Maybe we'll get another Suicide Squad movie. We better get another Suicide Squad movie. And maybe after that, it'll link them even closer, bring them closer to conflict. Then maybe we'll see a Justice League versus Suicide Squad movie once we get more powerful members in the Suicide Squad that can really hold that, are more easily controllable, that can hold their own against the Justice League. That would be something to see. Oh yeah, and final shout outs to for Viola Davis for doing a good job as Amanda Waller. Good job on that. She did a good job as playing this chick who believed that I don't remember whether she appeared in Batman vs Superman. I'm sorry, I don't remember. I only seen the movie once, but I wonder what her grudge, if she has a grudge. I hope they make her character, if there isn't already a complexity there, more complex as to why she wants to have the Suicide Squad in place to monitor against the Justice League. I hope there's more complexity there. But she did a good job as being basically the big bad boss in charge of the Suicide Squad, as basically the woman with the gonads, with the kahunas, to be able to rule over these supervillains and tell them what to do. And I really like that. She really brought that to the character. She had that strength and that power to do that. And another shout out to the guy who played, again, his name, Joel Kinnaman, for playing the guy who was in charge of, who was overseeing the Suicide Squad, who was on the field with them. He reminded me, his character wasn't all that complex, really. He was in love with the chick that the Enchantress, that was possessed by the Enchantress, but his emotion and his feelings for her really seemed really genuine. And he had that real tough guy like exterior, like I'm not afraid of you freaks with your powers and everything, even though I'm just a normal guy. And even though he could kick butt himself, he really felt to me like a tougher Chris Redfield, that is a tougher, less moral Chris Redfield that is with these people with these superpowers and is overseeing them. And I really liked how they brought that to that character. He did a better job being Chris Redfield. To me, he had the character more packed than the guy who played Chris Redfield, whoever he was, in the Resident Evil movies. And those sucky Resident Evil movies, most of them sucked after like 2, but yeah, hey. But yeah, he did a better job of portraying that character to me. If they did a Resident Evil reboot, get that man to play Chris Redfield. He was incredible as doing that role, but you have to tone him down a little bit, make him a bit more like goody as opposed to more I'm just a soldier paid to do this, but I'm in love with this chick. You gotta make him a bit more giddy. So yeah, but a special shout out to both of those guys. They did an excellent job in this movie too. Loved it. Congratulations. It's time to end this, right? Yeah, it's been going on for a while, and I guess I'm going to go ahead and conclude this with my thoughts on the theme of this movie. The biggest theme I saw anyway. And of course, one of the themes I saw throughout the movie was a theme of love, where there were different types of love in the movie, where you had Harley Quinn, who was crazy in love with the Joker, who basically had those very strong feelings for the man, even though you could clearly tell the Joker could probably, if she probably did anything serious to offend him, the way this Joker was, he would probably like kill her too. He probably only loved her as much because she really loved him. With the Joker, it's not unconditional. But Harley's love really seemed like it kind of was. And then you had Joel's character, his love for the woman that Enchantress was possessed by. You had Deadshot's love for his daughter. You had Captain Boomerang's love of Buddy. I'll play with that last one. But it seemed like even these villainous characters throughout this movie, even though they're all villains, they've all done horrible things. Harley Quinn's a murdering crazy psychopath. Deadshot's killed hundreds of people for his contracts, and the chick that Enchantress is possessed by has probably done atrocities too. But with some of these central characters, love is something that keeps them grounded. It's that thing. What's that trope called? The morality pet trope, where these villains, well, Harley Quinn herself is a morality pet herself, but it kind of seems like these characters were a lot of these characters were grounded by their love, even though these are some really sick, demented individuals that murder people. Love is the last connection these characters have to their humanity, which still makes them, it's the line that can make them go from being just villains to anti-heroes. Love is the one thing in this movie that can redeem these characters despite what they've done, as they say what they've done in this movie. And that to me was one central theme in the movie, is that love can turn a monster, is the one thing that can turn a monster into a man. Or a monster into a woman. Love can do that. Something central I saw. Theme number 2, which I saw, was, I kind of just made that one up right there on the spot. Pretty cool, right? The second thing that I saw inside the movie that I thought was a big central thing I saw is how I want to call her Amanda Waller believed, I should just say Viola Davis, it's easier to pronounce, but we're near the end of this. Amanda Waller believed that she could control these supervillains by putting bombs in her neck, by holding one of their hearts and so forth. But in the end, the most powerful one she thought she could control, she could not control, and end up her trying to control this chick, end up actually giving her access to more power. By her trying to control Enchantress knew about her and knew that she knew where all the world's technology was and hacked into her brain, and was using her super weapon to destroy all the world's defenses so she can take it over. She knew where her heart was kept. She knew everything she did because of Amanda Waller's interference and had access to that. So by her trying to control Enchantress, she ended up making things even worse. Not to mention by being a complete jerk to Enchantress, by causing her by causing her pain whenever Enchantress didn't do what she wanted to do by stabbing the woman's heart. That could have been the biggest reason why she was such a why Enchantress was so villainous, is because she was being basically tortured and maintained by Amanda Waller. Of course, Enchantress had a godplex anyway, so she would have tried to do something anyway, maybe, but you don't know. It's that whole thing about you poking a dog, as my sister told me, you poke a dog with a stick and a big dog's not going to bother you, but you keep on poking that sucker and eventually that dog's going to want to bite back. I think she made that in reference to what happened in the recent thing. She reads the comics about the Phoenix Five and how they were doing good, then they eventually started doing bad because the Avengers kept on poking them, and I see that kind of happening here too, as why Enchantress really was like, I'm going to wreck this world. A possible motive for that could have been her mistreatment by Amanda Waller. So it goes to show, when you try and cage certain people, you try and cage these people and put them under your control instead of trying to understand them and getting to know them. By you ruling over them, you cause resentment and you cause animosity, and you can end up making a monster an even worse monster, or end up turning someone with the potential to do great things into a monster. And that's what I saw as the central theme of Suicide Squad, is that the whole movie itself was a show on how Amanda Waller's project was basically a failure. When you think about it, the most powerful person she had under her control, it didn't work and it failed. And in modern times, she might have been fired from her job. In the Suicide Squad, in the real world, her project might have been scrapped because it had essentially failed. She calls it super villain in order to be unleashed upon the world. She might have even birthed this super villain. So there you go. That's one of the other biggest things I got from Suicide Squad. Oh yeah, final thing I have to say. I have to say this, and I swear I'm done, I promise. Final thing I had to note is the scene between Deadshot and the scene between Deadshot and Batman when Will Smith was cornered by Ben Affleck. Other than the daughter's horrible acting, I thought what Batman did was a little bit ingenuine with how his character has been. I know they're trying to make this Batman. They're not trying to make people villainous against Batman, but this Batman inside this version of Batman in Batman vs Superman, as we saw, was straight up killing people. As people love to show, that film, that scene where he took a dumpster and slammed it against the guy's face. He's just straight up machine gunning people. My argument, honest, will be if people are Batman is really using just deadly force from people using deadly force against him. That's pretty much what he's doing. These people are going to try and kill him too. But at the same time though, I'm not like defending or going against what he did in the movie. That's another movie. What I'm talking about here is how it goes against his character, how he found Deadshot in an alley and he was like, it's over, Deadshot, and I don't want to do this, but I don't want to do this in front of your daughter. And that scene at the same time reinforced how Deadshot was kind of villainous, how he was like, yeah, we are doing this in front of my daughter, I'm not going to get captured. But at the same time, when his daughter got in the way, Deadshot still lowered his guard. Love can turn a monster into a man. We have that going on. But this is supposed to be a darker Batman. And I do know in the comics, the reason why the Robin that becomes Nightwing, Dick Grayson, left Batman is because Batman wanted to interrogate a man right in front of his family. It was a buildup of other stuff too, but the biggest turning point, as I remember, was Batman wanted to interrogate a man right in front of his family. He basically wanted to beat this man up and wanted to like teach this man a thing or two, because the man didn't want to give give Batman information, when the man's family, his wife and his children, were cowering in the corner looking at Batman about to beat up their the husband and the father of the family. And Batman wasn't like, I'm gonna take this outside. He was like, we're gonna do this. And Robin was like, no, this is wrong. Robin, who becomes Nightwing, was like, this is wrong. And Batman gave him some explanation I can't remember, and I don't remember what else happens with the scene. But if this is supposed to be a darker, older, like grittier Batman who doesn't like give two craps about the villains, he just wants to capture them, then I'm not saying he's a super murdering Batman, but he's basically wants to do his job and do it kind of no matter what, kind of. So the scene with how he was saying, we don't want to do this, I don't want to do this in front of your daughter, I thought that was pretty ingenuine, and I think they could have balanced it out, and it would have been a perfect balance, I believe, if at the end, when they were going to get Deadshot, and the guy, I think it was Joel, he told the CIA people to back off, to let the man finish, and then he told Deadshot it was time for you to go. And instead of letting them drag him out like an animal, Deadshot went and got up, he finished talking with his daughter, told her he had to go, made a little snarky joke about it, what Will Smith does, and then he left. I thought that would have been a perfect balance and would have kept with the Batman grittiness and been more genuine to this Batman if Batman had beat him up and taken him after Deadshot tried to fight back in front of his daughter. I thought that would have been kind of genuine. But then again, it did show how Deadshot, and then they could have did a bit better. And I thought that scene was ingenuine to the Batman it seems like they're going forward. They kind of contradicting themselves with that scene concerning Batman and what this Batman is supposed to represent. That's my 2 cents on it. Can you see me now? I don't care. I'm not reshooting those scenes when I kind of cut myself off. So that concludes my review of Suicide Squad, directed by David Ayer, produced by Zack Snyder. And if you go and see the movie, keep your expectations open. Don't let the fans of the franchise overhype it, and don't let the fans of Marvel and the people that are hating on it like dissuade you. Go and see the movie and form your own opinion about it. I thought that the movie did not deserve all the negative criticism it was getting. Not at all. It wasn't a great movie. It wasn't Captain America Civil War. It definitely wasn't that. But it was still a good superhero like movie with super villains forced to do things they don't want to do, and the movie delivered. I liked it. It had its issues, but most movies do, and that's my opinion on it. So I say, if you want to see the movie, go see it. If you're a Marvel fanboy, or if you just believe what people tell you like a drone, then don't go see the movie. But I recommend go see it for yourself. Kind of make me think someone's lobbying for something, because I mean, this movie did 26 Rotten Tomatoes. Come on, just no. Okay, thank you for taking time to look at my review today, and take care. Bye bye.